Okay, so I'm social as well. So this is part two of the socialization part. One thing that I also wanted to mention when I'm talking about kids being cool or kids being weird, one thing that we also have to consider in this whole thing about socializing children so that they can be normal, or socializing children so that they don't end up being weird or not having proper social skills and stuff, is that, you know, normalcy and weirdness and all those sorts of things, they're relative. It really depends on the situation. It really depends on where you are. It depends on who you're with. So, take me for instance. I would like to consider myself to be a fun, charismatic, funny, energetic type person. And a lot of people that I spend time with, the groups and circles that I normally associate with, that's the way that they describe me. And that's why I believe those things about myself too, because not only do I feel it, but people around me that I spend time with, they confirm that for me. They validate those thoughts. But if you take me out of that group, the circle of people who are like-minded or have some of the similar interests or whatever that I do, and you put me with a totally different group who has different interests, different experiences, that are from different places and all of that, I probably would be weird to them. And so that's something that we need to consider too when we make a big deal about socialization, and when we are so concerned about children going, not going to school or being homeschooled and whether they turn out to be weird or not, is that, yeah, you're always going to be weird if you're not with your people. If you're not with people who are like minded and have the same thought processes that you do, or whatever the case may be. So, some kid who might be considered the nerd because they like anime or they like certain video games or comic books or whatever. And if they're at a school where those things are not a big deal to most of the kids, they're going to seem like the weird kids. But then if they're around other kids who are into those things, they're normal. They're normal, and they might even be considered cool if they're better at those things than the other kids in that peer group. So I think that's something that homeschool really develops and nurtures, is that children are able to get their education and become who they're meant to be without having the outside world constantly critiquing them because they're not the mainstream. And we even see that a lot of times when children finish their traditional education and they go on to college, where they are around more people who are like them, they don't feel like the weird kid because they find their group. And so, I don't know, that's my 2 cents on socialization. It's relative. What is normal? What is weird?